Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure for me to join you in this presentation. I was about to introduce Breno, but most of you know him from the first seminar or conference. And I just want to give you an introduction of how it's going to be this presentation. We're going to go through the structure experience, that of the Central Bank of Brazil. Breno will share with us information regarding how the risk management is performed in the Central Bank about PIX. So, Breno, take it from here.
Thank you, Maria Fernanda. Thank you, Flar and Banco Central del Uruguay for the invitation. That's the third forum that I'm coming to share the Brazilian experience. Always a pleasure to see you in the evolution of instant payments on our region. It's really amazing how the countries are developing new tools to enhance digital payments and include our population into the financial system. My presentation today is a little bit different. I will focus on how the Central Bank of Brazil is structured in order to play the several roles that we have on the payment systems. Actually, it's not a speech about risk management strategy, because PIX is a real-time gross settlement system, so we do not have any credit risk. We could have liquidity risk, but we manage that through remunerating the accounts of the PIX participants, so they have all the incentives to keep funds on their account at the Central Bank of Brazil, so it's not a problem at all, and we face all the operational risks that any other payment system operator face, so no news about that. So I'll talk a little bit about oversight, how we deal with oversight. I really preferred my first 2 years presentation because I was presenting good stuff regarding PIX. And if there is something that I particularly don't like about PIX, it's how the Central Bank of Brazil is organized in order to operate and oversee the scheme and system. So please, that's how to not do things differently from. But at the end of the presentation, I have one slide talking about the evolving agenda of PIX. That's amazing. We have lots of new use cases, so the best is at the end. Oversight. What we do, as all of you, or probably most of you, regarding payment systems, regarding financial market infrastructures and payment schemes. We regulate FMIs and payment schemes. We license them. We oversee them. We supervise them. And we operate financial market infrastructures. We operate 4 financial market infrastructures in Brazil. We have our wholesale RTGS. We have the retail RTGS, that is SPI, that is instant payment system that settles all PIX transactions. We have a secured settlement system that we operate that settles public bonds. And we operate the Sistema de Monedas Locales with Paraguay, Uruguay, and Argentina. And of course, we have private financial market infrastructures as well. And we oversee and we supervise them. And we own 4 payment schemes as well. And one of them is PIX. And of course, we have lots of private payment schemes, mainly the debit cards and credit card schemes. But how we organize to play these 5-6 different roles. And that's the problem with Brazil, with the Central Bank of Brazil, because we do not have a debt governor for payment systems. So we have to deal with 5 different debt governors to deal with payment systems. I work on that first box the green box there, the PIX management and operation division, that it's under a specific debt governor. And the head of my department, for whom I report directly, he's also in charge of overseeing and regulating payment schemes and financial market infrastructures. So there is probably a problem of how to be neutral in order to regulate private financial market infrastructures and private payment schemes, and also promoting PIX. There is a competitor to the private schemes and private FMIs. That's a very big problem. We receive lots of criticism because of this organization, but that is what it is. We have a specific department in charge of licensing financial market infrastructures that is under this same debt governor, and we have another debt governor that is in charge of FMI's financial risks, and of course it's part of the licensing process, it's part of the regulation process, so it's always a problem to align interests between the debt governors that have their own agenda. And the operation of the FMIs that we operate, we have on two different debt governors. We have the SPI and STR. STR is our wholesale RTGS, and SPI is the infrastructure that settles PIX transactions. And Selic is the security settlement system, and the Sistema de Monedas Locales, the local currency system, is under the debt governor for international affairs, the yellow boxes. And they conduct as well all the talking with G20 and BRICS and things like that. And we are aware of that dialogue. We don't know what they are talking with G20 and BRICS regarding the future and alternative to integrate payment systems. And when we talk about open finance, that is a really promising way of providing instant payment transactions. They are under other debt governor. They're in charge of regulating the financial system. So, and we have on the supervision side, they are in charge of supervising the private FMIs and the private payment schemes. And we can see there is nothing, yes, we have oversight that is under the same. So no one oversees the FMIs that we operate. No one oversees the payment schemes that we own. That's a real big problem.
Okay, the governance model for PIX and the instant payment systems involves two different areas under separate deputy governors, one overseeing the infrastructure themselves, and the other overseeing the schemes operated by the central bank. What's the rationale behind that decision, and which effects it has in terms of efficiency and policy alignment?
Yeah, that's the problem. There is no technical arguments to have an organization like that. It's just a matter of including strategic projects under specific debt governors. So it's a political decision, and it generates lots of problems of alignment and coordination. We do not have a committee of payments in order to have everybody involved on payment systems at the Central Bank of Brazil on the same table discussing priorities and which project should we run. And so it's really, really, we have lots of problems to coordinate and to align our agenda. And I believe we could be like 20 to 30% more efficient if we have everything under a same debt governor in charge of payment systems.
Okay, I was about to ask you how do you coordinate, but I think you
We don't. We don't.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That's a...
So moving on. So that's the question. Who oversees the financial market infrastructures that we operate and the payment schemes that we own? The solution that we brought was brilliant, but it was not nice. We took our internal auditing doing that. People that are outside of payments, that they don't know the principles for financial market infrastructures from the CPMI, so they had to study that. And in theory, they are in charge of the oversight of PIX and the SPI, that's our instant payment system. They have never done any job within PIX, within the scheme itself, because we just say to them, we have lots of work, please don't come here. My colleagues from SPI weren't so successful on this strategy, and the internal auditing went to them last year in 2024, and I will share with you the results of this oversight process.
Okay. I understand that there was an audit in 2024 based on the principles for financial market infrastructure. And those are 24, if I'm not wrong, but there is a subset of principles that were chosen to be reviewed. And which is the rationale behind that decision, and why some of them were included and the other ones not?
So these are the scope and non-scope of the auditing process. Some of the principles do not apply to central bank operated FMIs. Some of them do not apply to payment systems. And it was a matter of how many principles the auditing team could oversee because of limited resources. Once again, no technical call here, just a matter of what can we do. So they selected the 7 principles that they thought that were most important, and they oversaw how we were applying the principles to the instant payment system. The results were pretty well. We observed principles 3, 8, 13, 15, and 23. We have some problems on the 17 and on the 19. And the problems are here. We have on the operational risk, one of the main risks that we face. We have no formal communication plan for SPI under its business continuity plan. The interruptions to critical services that impact the continuity, they have not been tested, or the tests carried out by respective providers have not been monitored. And the participation levels, we have some problems with our risk management policy, and that's one of the consequences of having this fragmentation of payment systems, because it's really hard to get everyone involved on the same table in order to map the operational risks of each division that helps to operate and manage PIX. So we don't have this communication plan. What if we are unavailable? We don't have a war room, a crisis room. So our IT team just deal with that and try to call everyone involved. So that's something, but at least the auditing process took that as a problem. So now we have to make this process better than it's right now.
Okay, it's very interesting because you mentioned it was those principles were selected by the internal audit, and I understood that there was not for example, an international benchmark based in which they were chosen. So do you think this would be a better way to do it, or probably there are another principles that has to be selected for the auditing?
Yes, we have a very good team that oversees the private financial market infrastructures. Why shouldn't they oversee us as well? Because they are under the same department. So, of course, there could be a conflict of interests here. So it's a matter of organization, because we know people that know all the PFMIs, and that probably one of the first things that I had to read when I joined the Central Bank of Brazil, and I have nightmares with that. And thankfully, I don't work with oversight, but they do, and they have expertise. It shouldn't be up to the auditing, the internal auditing doing this job. So that's one of the problems of the structure that we have. And then that's the nice part of my presentation. I asked Daily, please let me present the evolving agenda of PIX. It's much better than the oversight problems. And that's what we have. It's just this slide, it's synthesizing everything that we are running right now in 2025, what we plan to do on the next couple of years, and what's in on 2028 and beyond. We have just launched the PIX NFC functionality. Now I can initiate a PIX transaction by just tapping my phone into the POS terminals. I do not have to scan a QR code anymore. So my experience of initiating PIX on a merchant decreased from 40 seconds to 7 seconds, and that's a lot. It works through digital wallets or through the own bank's app. The only digital wallet that is offering the service is Google right now. They do that through our Open Finance APIs. So Google is a payment initiation service provider. It's licensed by the Central Bank of Brazil. It's supervised by the Central Bank of Brazil. Google is a PIX participant, an Open Finance participant. And of course, Apple didn't want to do all of these things and be under the Central Bank of Brazil regulation, so they do not offer the functionality to their customers, but Android users can use it. We launched it on February. On March, you have 1 million transactions. On April, another 1 million transactions, and the numbers are increasing. The other functionality that we are developing right now, it's a solution for recurrent payments that we are calling PIX Automático, where you authorize just once a certain company that you have a recurrent relationship, and on the day of the debit, the money just flows from your account to the company's account with no friction. You don't have to authorize each money. It's like a direct debit solution, but using PIX infrastructure. The companies that work with recurrent payments are very excited with this solution. The streaming companies are the ones that are particularly interested on this solution, because they have to bill their customers using credit cards, and credit cards are very expensive to them. And using PIX infrastructure, it will be much cheaper than using credit cards. We are going to launch the functionality on June, on a couple of weeks. PIX participants, banks and non-banks, they are testing right now, so we are working on these tests. The other functionality that we are working is the PIX Buy Now, Pay Later solution, where you can initiate a transaction even when you do not have funds on your account, and then you take a credit line in order to conclude the transaction, and then the merchant gets the money instantly, the whole amount, and then you have, of course, to pay the credit line on installments to your bank. That functionality will be launched on September this year, and it should include part of the population that do not have access to credit cards. For large value transactions, People rely on credit cards in order to pay on installments. In Brazil, it's very popular to pay using installments. And the population that do not have access or have a very low credit limit on their credit lines, they cannot buy goods and services that high-value goods and services because they cannot pay on installments. And using Pix, they would be able to do that. Yes, for the next couple of years, we have the improvements of the Pix NFC solution. Once I have to use digital wallets, the payer must be connected to the internet in order to initiate a Pix transaction. So it limits the users that do not have the connection to the internet because they do not have a package of data or something like that. That's very common for the low-income share of the population. And we're going to develop this offline solution where the user could be offline using a digital wallet as well, but any other NFC device. It could be a card, a Pix card, for example, or a tag, a wearable. And so you just have to tap on the terminal, the POS terminal, and then the POS terminal is going to initiate the transaction. Not through the card rails, through the Open Finance APIs. The Open Finance APIs are ready, so the acquirer, the owner of the POS terminal is going to access the account, acting as a PISP, as an initiator, through the Open Finance APIs, and then initiate a Pix on the accounts held by the customer on any payment service provider. That's going to be a very nice solution for people with limited access to the internet. And we have other projects regarding credit on Pix. For example, using the receivables of Pix receivables as collateral for merchants. So merchants now, almost 100% of merchants in Brazil, they accept Pix. And they rely on Pix for future transactions, so they have these future receivables of Pix that they can use as collateral in order to get credit. So when someone purchase something on the merchant, we are going to create a split mechanism where some part of the funds go directly on the account of the merchant, and the part that was used in order to get the credit is going direct to the bank that offered the credit. So the market is very excited as well with this solution, especially for small and medium-sized enterprises that do not have access to collateral credit that is cheaper than uncollateralized credit. So it probably is going to help those merchants. Another project that we are developing is for credit notes. We have credit notes on Brazil, and they have their own settlement infrastructure, their own scheme in order to pay those credit notes. And these credit notes, they can be negotiated on the secondary market. So the beneficiary of the credit notes, it changes. So it's like generating a QR code that is pointing to one specific account, and then the owner of that credit note, they can sell this credit note to anyone else. So the data on the QR code must be updated. So we're going to do that on Pix, so in order to make it possible to negotiate these credit notes and use Pix infrastructure in order to settle these credit notes. So this is our agenda that is already scheduled for the next 2 years. And we have other projects that unfortunately we are only able to start on 2028. Pix request to pay improvements, we already have our Pix request to pay through QR codes, just a centralized database. We want to improve B2B transactions. B2B transactions rely a lot on the old credit transfer mechanism that we have because of legacy systems. So we have to understand why they didn't migrate to Pix in order to improve. And the project that I wish we were running right now, that is Pix cross-border, integrate Pix with other instant payment systems. I just love Project Nexus since 2020. I've been talking to DBS Innovation Hub, and thank God the Nexus Global Payments company finally was created this year. And I'm really excited about the Nexus project. I always say to Ben that Brazil is going to join. The problem is when we are going to join. And the when it's beyond 2028, because it's really simpler and cheaper to talk to one multilateral hub and then connect everyone to this multilateral hub, than talk to each country independently and solve the problems and the challenges involving the technical challenges that are the easiest ones, but the oversight problems, the legal requirements problems. So it's something that we are looking forward to join, but unfortunately not now, because we have these short-term challenges of increasing the use case that we have. But I do think that joining this multilateral hub will be the future of the integration of the region. It will be much easier than talking on a bilateral table with each of our countries. And I really think that's the future for our region.
Okay. As we can see, the agenda is very ambitious, and I just have two questions. The one is related to the users, because all of these projects will have an impact on the users. So how is the central bank addressing the protection of the user or the potential users of these projects? And also, you mentioned that Pix cross-border will be starting to be worked on 2028. But I can imagine that right now you are already working on the foundations that will allow to start working on that project and the possibility to join to another scheme like Nexus.
Regarding the first question about security and frauds, that's just the nice part of the evolving agenda. We have another agenda regarding security and frauds and scams. We have a specific working group with the private agents, with the market, where we discuss. We have a permanent agenda in order to discuss enhancements on our security mechanisms. So each project that we launch, they are associated with different possibilities of frauds and scams, and we have to design and implement all the security elements in order to make the population confident of this new product. So that's a challenge, and we have a specific team dealing with that jointly with private agents. Regarding the cross-border project, we are somehow comfortable, because the first thing that I saw here on the Montevideo airport was a propaganda of Fiserv doing, "Hey Brazilians, you can use Pix in Montevideo." And then, okay. I want to talk with my colleagues on Banco Central de Uruguay, because Brazilians are purchasing things in Montevideo and Punta del Este using Pix. And the same is on Argentina, Peru, Chile, Portugal. Lots of merchants accept Pix, Paris. And I don't know if it's good or it's not. Our law book doesn't. It's not a prohibition, but it's not. We can say you can do that. So they are working on something that is unregulated. So we may have some problems regarding money laundering and things like that. But Brazilians are happy paying with Pix on these countries, so we are comfortable. So actually, we are not developing. We are talking with anyone who wants to talk, bilateral talks, talking with Nexus, and planning and building this trust between institutions. We are always open to dialogue with anyone who wants to integrate with us, but a project, we will only be able to state a project on a couple of years from now, but I'm sure that we will get there someday.